So this morning, I want to talk very quickly about the future. What are the traits that we need if we're going to be leaders of the future? In other words, when you look at your leadership team, you got to ask yourself the question, is this the team that will take my organization to the future? In other words, is your leadership team futuring? And one of the key traits of a futuring leader is creativity. Creativity. So, what drives creativity? Creativity is driven by our thinking, and there are three types of thinking that a futuring leader will need. The first type of thinking that a futuring leader needs is strategic thinking. And to put it simply, strategic thinking says we are here and we need to be there. And these are the steps that we are going to take to get there. That's strategic thinking in a nutshell. So a futuring leader needs to be a strategic thinker. The second type of thinking that you need to develop is what I then call genius thinking. It's not enough that you're a strategic thinker as a leader. You've got to upgrade your thinking and add to your strategic thinking. You must add genius thinking. Genius thinking says that now that we have done our strategic thinking, we then relook at what we have put together and we apply genius thinking to it. And it simply says, are there any possibilities that we have not looked into? Are there possibilities that we didn't look into? And then can we look at those possibilities? So think about strategic thinking. A lot of times when we do strategic thinking, we tend to do it within a box. And that box has to do with the history in terms of our organization. It has to do with the industry that we operate in and what has become the norm. So all these things have an impact on how we do strategic thinking. And as a result of that, there's a tendency for us to think within a given box. But the futuring leader knows that if you think within a box, you're not going to survive. So he adds another layer to strategic thinking, which is called genius thinking. But genius thinking alone is not enough for the future. The futuring leader needs a third set of thinking skills. And this is one of my favorite. And I call it oblique thinking. Now you'll think in mathematics. You remember you had mathematics, geometry. You either have a horizontal line or a vertical line. So you got vertical and horizontal. And then when it's neither horizontal nor vertical, we call that an oblique line. Oblique thinking then says, the typical thinking says that we have options in strategy, right? We can either do A, or we can do B, or we can do one, or we can do two. You must choose. Oblique thinking says, why can't we do A and B? Or why can't we do one and two? Because the future belongs to organizations which are able to do A and B. So which thinking are you engaged in? Which thinking do you need to start focusing on? I'll see you on the other side.